Okay, so today I want to share with people, lab owners, the mechanics of your goals, right? So that if you say you're a lab that's of a certain size, and I'll go through an example, and you want to grow to a certain size, have a certain profitability, cash flow, exit valuation, whatever it is, what are the mechanics of that? And I'm going to show you what I mean. So let's say that right now, as an example, you had 1,000 active clients and they were doing on average $1,500 in sales per month, okay? So that would have you at 18 million. Let's use a little bit of a smaller number, 500 clients doing an average of 1,300 a month, go a little smaller. So let's say you're at $7.8 million, okay? And you have a retention rate, which means that when somebody tries your business, your lab, 60, 70% turn into retained customers, right? That are spending $1,300 a month with you. Let's say that it's 65%, okay? And you have a sales goal that you want to get from 7.8 million, let's just use as an example, to $15 million, right? Okay? So already I can see a couple of things here. I currently have 500 retained clients, but I need 962 that are doing $1,300 per month in order to reach my goal. So that already gives you direction. I need 462 more clients. Now, to go deeper into those mechanics, okay, you can go ahead and let's talk about how we're going to get those clients. So let's say that you decide you want to hire sales reps, okay? And you have two sales reps that are making, on average, inside sales reps, 50 calls a day. We can add outside sales reps and do some variables for them as well, but let's just say that. And a lot of labs will say they don't spend money on sales and marketing, but they also don't generate really enough new business either. So let's just say, as an example, you're doing $15 million in sales, and you're spending, let's just say, $300,000 a year. And I have tabs for this, so we're just using some baseline numbers here. What I want you to see is that the two inside sales reps making 50 calls a day gives me 2,150 contacted calls, contacted offices per month, okay? Then if 15% of those, and we can change these numbers, let's say 8% of those turn into a hot lead, okay? And of the 8% that are hot leads, we get 20% that say they'll commit to a first time try. They'll try us, right? And I think the number should be bigger, but let's just say 20% of your hot leads move to commit to the first case. And of that, okay, let's just say we get 12% here. Let's just say we get 25% here. And let's just say we get 20% here. Okay, so what that means is that I'm getting 13 new customers per month to send their first case. I'm retaining, as we said earlier, 65% of those. So I'm retaining roughly 8 clients per month, or 100 clients per year. And at that rate, I know it would take me roughly 4.5 years to reach my goal. But the most important thing in this example, and you can use whatever numbers you want, is that you're looking at the mechanics of the goal. If your goal is exit valuation, and let's say you want to assume, I think I have a tab, yeah. You want to assume like a 4x of EBITDA for an exit valuation. Well, okay, if my EBITDA is this much, how much more do I have to grow the company to get my EBITDA to the place where it needs to be to get the exit valuation I want? And then again, go to the mechanics. Know, what does your average client spend with you per month? Now remember, when you calculate the average client spend per month, it's not based on statements. So you take your total sales per month and divide it by the number of actual doctors that sent you a case. If you use statements, it's going to come out wrong because oftentimes you have more than one doctor per statement. But what you really need to know is, what is the average value of each doctor? Only then can you figure out how many doctors you need to get to your goal. And then again, what is your retention rate when you get a first time try? Then, of course, you can fine tune the pipeline. Can you have better sales techniques to get better than 12% hot leads? The answer is yes. Can you get more than 25% in this example of your hot leads to commit to the first case? And can you get more than 20% of those to actually send the first case? The answer to all those questions is yes, yes, yes. But these are just numbers for an example. But it shows you exactly where you need to be. And then you can start looking at things like, what was your cost per first time try? So in this example, let's see, without having to go to the tab, with this example, each first time try cost me almost $2,000, $1,938 to get someone to try us. So when I divided the total amount of money I spent on sales and marketing by the total number of first time tries, I was at $1,938. And at a 65% retention rate, that means that each retained client cost me just under $3,000 to get. And I can tell you that in this business, when you look at what is your customer acquisition cost to the lifetime value of a client, in sales, in gross margin, in EBITDA, in any metric you want to look at, I will tell you, I believe the dental lab industry is one of the best returns on the money that you spend, returns on the investment that you spend to get new customers. I truly believe it is. So this is just a kind of rough outline of how to come up with the formula that you need to reach your goals. And then there's a lot of different ways to do it. Like I said, you can improve your pipeline, your pipeline performance. You can improve that. Obviously, there's increasing average client sales, which, believe it or not, is not always the best thing to do. Price optimization is a very low-hanging fruit for most labs. So there are a lot of different ways that you can do this, not to mention operational improvements, reducing COGS, which I have another video on, and things like that. So the mechanics of getting to your goal are very important. How many customers doing how many dollars per month in sales do I need to reach my goal? And then based on my retention rate, how many first-time tries do I need to reach that number of customers? So I hope you found this little video helpful. Let me know your thoughts or comments.